But the reality is, I'm up here with three people who I can tell you are living a very different lifestyle with their kids. As bad as it is, that I think the #1 vegetable in America now is a tomato, only because of ketchup. And then #2 are lettuce and pickle because of hamburgers. That's how bad it is. When you look around here, we got totally different stories. So, Kayla, these are your kids here. And you have an interesting transition from the oldest kids down to the youngest kids as you've implemented the 5 essentials. So I'm just curious to know your kid perspective.
I started with a couple kids a little bit older than the babies. So the older ones didn't adapt as easily as the younger ones. We started out bringing out cucumbers, and I started putting a tray of vegetables in the fridge, and they'd say, "What is that?" And now we're to devouring the entire tray. Every single day I replenish it with all sorts of new vegetables, and they've really adapted well. And they used to have chronic ear problems. That's the biggest change, is we had 9 surgeries, adenoids removed twice, tonsils removed once, and since they've changed their diet, decreased their dairy, we don't have ear infections anymore. Hardly ever, very rarely.
And it's interesting because the first time we went on the grocery store tour with you, you were terrified. You also, how much heavier were you then when we did that grocery store tour?
100 pounds. I've lost 100.
She said 100. So we walked Kayla around the grocery store, I guess 3 years ago, and she's 100 pounds heavier than she is right now. Kids with tubes in their ears, surgeries, the whole thing. And you were terrified in the grocery store, but then she actually stops by yesterday as we're getting ready for the seminar. I opened my fridge, and you remember your comment?
Yeah, when I first went to his house and he opened his fridge, I was like, oh, that's weird. Yesterday when I was there, that was 3 years ago, he opened it, I was like, oh, mine almost looks the same. So it takes a long time to adapt for me with the kids. Change took a little bit longer, but we're still going there.
One of the reasons why we brought these guys up first today is, a lot of people here, you've seen the videos and you say, well, that person lost 50 pounds or even 100 pounds, and you think that's what it's all about. It's very much on my heart that unless it starts with kids, we're going to be doing the exact same thing 30 years or 40 years from now. Do you understand? So I love what we've been able to do for the last 5 years, but if I'm doing the exact same thing 10 years from now, I'm going to pluck my eyeballs out or something. So again, we got to start at a young age as applying the 5 essentials. So Sherry, how about you? Because you've seen it, just obviously development as a teacher and all else too. So
yeah, my children as well as I teach part-time. So I see it with the kids, and just like BJ said, we need to get to the kids. I believe in making it fun, and I believe in making it gradually. My daughter is actually here today, and I'm really happy that she's here because it's starting them young. It's starting when they're little to be involved, to tell the truth. Even when I'm teaching, I'm telling kids the truth. That's not really healthy, honey. Like, you have to be honest with kids nowadays. It's going to be those kids that are healthy that are going to be long. It doesn't matter about education, really, and about success that way, because if they're not healthy, they're not going to be successful in life. So you know what? My kids, it's been challenging some days, but for the most times, I'm involved in the kitchen. I'm cooking with them, kind of feel like my mom, and I really think that's where we need to get back to. We need to get back to being a family, being back in the kitchen. We have busy schedules, but we have to make time. We have to make time to have fun with our kids and cook with them, teach them about food. Like, I love Jamie Oliver. Let's teach our kids about food, not about other things that aren't really that important. But
here's the other thing. So when you make a goodie or you make a snack according to the Maximized Living way of making a goodie or snack, we can still make goodies and snacks, just make them a little differently. I mean, is it something that your kids like and you don't, or that you like and they don't, or is it all the same stuff now?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, it just depends because, again, I think in our society, they still see the advertisement, right? They still see their friends bringing stuff at school. And so that's what they're dealing with. It's more the social thing, and I think we really have to, it's not necessarily about food, because if it was all about food, that would be fine. It's all about the social thing. It's about fitting in. There's so many other things, and that's why it's so important to get involved in all 5 essentials.
Yeah, and go have a couple of our chocolate protein bars at lunch and tell me that your kids won't be the coolest kid in town, too, if they bring those in. So
unfortunately, some of the times the nut thing, right? That's the issue at schools. But
so what about you with particularly your one daughter? I think we've got her up here.
I have 3 kids, and my middle child, Marley, she's 3, and we literally call her the Tasmanian devil, because she would come into the room spinning. Kayla knows her. She's, wow. Yeah, and
a gong show,
yeah,
she said.
She has changed a lot. She's still that overactive child. But even my mom, within about 6 weeks, mom's like, what's going on with her? And because she just kind of calmed down a little bit. And you know, at this age especially, they really do listen to you. They hear what you're saying. And BJ had come over to look through our pantry and my fridge, and he had talked about, I had cheese strings, and he had said, you know, they've got like oils and they'll slow down your blood or whatever. And later in the day, Marley pulls one out of the fridge and she goes, I can't eat this. There is slow blood inside this. But you know, they do hear what you say.
But what's so huge on that is that if she knows that at 3 years old, do you think she's ever going to get derailed and start on the wrong path? Do you understand? Is it easier to start there than somebody who's coming in maybe at your starting point or Kayla's starting point, having to change all this, you know? So, in fact, if I could just do a seminar for 3-year-olds, that might be a good starting point. But then also, so like for you, like, have you lost weight as well while you've been doing this as well?
I've lost almost 20 pounds since January.
Yeah, you know, so the thing is that's one element. Any other quick changes for you or any of the other kids or your husband or at all?
Well, you know, I started this just for me, but my husband's here today, my mother's here today, and they kind of see that I'm happier, I'm a little bit more awake. And my kids, they know now when they go to the fridge, you know, Easter killed us because of the chocolate factor, but they'll say, can I have a snack? Sure, there's apples, there's pineapple, there's whatever you want in the fridge, and they're like, oh, can I have a treat? And so they know now that's a special treat. You know, that's not something you have every time you go into the cupboard. You're not getting a chocolate every time you go there, or a marshmallow or whatever you want. That's a treat. And so a snack now is cucumbers. They love, that's what, they come home from school or they come home and I just make a tray of like cucumbers and broccoli, and they love it. They think it's the best thing ever.
So give these guys a round of applause, not only for helping out, but for what they've done. So thanks, guys. Thanks.